The time is now.
They gon' love me for my ambition. Easy to dream a dream, but what's harder to live?
All right. It's episode 1, baby.
Episode 1.
It's episode 1.
No.
Welcome, everybody. Episode number 1. Here we go. Ambitious Minds. So today's episode is going to be a little bit different than what we'll normally be doing because we're going to do a little kind of get to know you session real quick. So kind of give you guys some context and where we're coming from, our backgrounds, and how we've kind of gotten to where we're at today. And more importantly, where we're looking to get to, right? So I'm going to let Eris start because, it's episode number 1. So here we go. But yeah, Eris, tell us a little bit about yourself, man.
Yeah.
Background, how'd you get started in all this?
Most definitely. So, we won't go all into childhood and everything like that, but I guess my leadership, entrepreneurship journey kind of started in college. The first thing I, did was, I love cooking. I still love cooking to this day. And while I was living in the dorms, kind of started this catering business.
That's right. ET's
Catering.
Catering. Yeah.
And so, got an opportunity to do some weddings and some birthdays, things like that. And it was great while I was going. Just something that, definitely was a passion of mine at the time and still is, but something that was just an awesome experience for me, and got a chance to connect to me and my family and some other friends and things like that. And then I guess this leadership part of the journey really started when I started working for Planet Fitness. A lot of y'all know Planet Fitness, and I remember even applying for it, and I was sitting in the Central Michigan Library, me and my wife Cam, and I saw, Planet Fitness was coming to town in Mount Pleasant. And I told my wife, I said, I never saw a fat man run a gym before. So I was like, let's apply, right? What's the worst that could happen, right? And so applied, got the job. And, even during the interview process, being asked questions like, what's your top values, right? What are your values?
That's right.
How do you lead the team towards a common goal? It was questions I had never heard before that were foreign to me, but piqued my interest, right? And so got the position, started off as an assistant manager, and I never forget, it was probably week 2. Our regional, he came in and he gave me a book and a planner. He gave me 5 Levels of Leadership by John Maxwell. I'm sure we'll talk about that.
Definitely.
We'll talk about that on the podcast, but he gave me a book and a planner, and he said, I want you to develop yourself and I want you to plan out your day. And that right there kind of changed a lot for me, right? Nobody had ever sat there, and I tell people to this day, I remember my 5-year anniversary working for a retail store, and on my 5-year anniversary, I had the option to choose between a lunch pail and an umbrella. Okay. Fancy, right?
Right.
So, totally different mindsets, right? And so, into this assistant manager role, learning how to lead people, right? And lead people through their values was just totally different from me, but it was eye-opening and really got me into this leadership realm and staff and, employee engagement. So really enjoyed it, right? So then got an opportunity to run that club in Mount Pleasant, was the club manager. And then took a little trip down to Georgia.
That's right.
Lived in Georgia for almost about a year. My number one core value is faith, and went to continue to serve under our pastor at the time. Went down to Georgia, and totally different experience with working for a different franchise, but learned a lot about myself, my leadership skills, and the value that I bring to the table. And got an opportunity to come back to Michigan and become a regional manager, where I got a chance to oversee some multi-units, and taught me a lot. So now it's about spreading that influence, spreading that value.
That's right.
And just gave me some different opportunities. So now what I do is I'm a district leader for a major food chain in Michigan right now, and I oversee about 6 units, and gives me an opportunity just to add value to their teams and add value to them. And man, it's been a crazy journey. Very interesting. I met you along the way. We started off as Planet and been boys since day one. So man, that's kind of me, man. But I'm gonna turn the tables, man. Tell us who BBZ is. Tell us who Brad is.
Man, where to start? Yeah, so I mean, I guess growing up, always been very entrepreneurship minded too. So just in the way that kind of viewed and took on life, I guess it's always kind of been an interest of mine. And whether it was the freedom aspect of it or, being your own, no, we'll get more into that, I'm sure. But so I guess really it started off pretty young. So like right out of high school, I had a big interest in like stock trading. So, of course you go through these spurts. So I'm like, oh, I'm going to be a full-time stock trader. I'm like, I'm going to do this, start day trading and all this stuff. But it was super beneficial and just kind of taught me a lot going through that. Not even just about finances, but more of a mindset thing even. Yeah. So, reading materials, and just building a better mental capacity for entrepreneurship and how to handle some of those stressors. But anyway, it doesn't matter. Moving on, I then started a photography business that kind of happened on it. You remember that? You were part of that, man.
Man, I used to make this guy. We used to go shoot photos at like midnight.
I was so frustrated that you used to make me do that because it was so out of my comfort zone. But then I was so glad that we did it because it always paid off and I learned so much. But what started as supposed to just be a hobby. I picked up a camera. I was like, I got my tax returns back that year. I was like, I'm going to buy a camera just for fun. So I had one. And at the time, a good friend of mine was getting into modeling too. So we just practiced, with each other and it worked out great. And I was like, you know what? This is really fun, like if I could make some money doing this, why not try it out, right? So it kind of took off and progressed from there. And since then I've done several weddings, modeling portfolios, senior photos, family, you name it, I've kind of done it.
I mean, let's stop real quick though, because I'm pretty sure you have a photo in the British GQ,
you can't, don't
right?
hype me up like that. No. Anyway. Shout out to Sam Bell if you're watching this.
What's up, Sam?
So photography has been an awesome journey just in itself, and introduced me to some great people, great companies that I've worked with. Since then, though, now we've progressed. Well, I guess Planet Fitness. That's a huge highlight of mine for leadership as well. That's really where that started to take off. Growing up, I was heavily influenced by my dad, and a lot of the readings that we did for Planet weren't foreign to me. I'd heard of them before. A couple of them I had been familiar with, but to then be in an environment and have a platform to start to practice some of those things,
right.
It's so different. You can read a book all day, but then actually be doing it and practicing it, it's a game changer. So having that experience for the last 5 years,
right.
And being able to progress throughout that, briefly started as applied for cardio cleaner. So Eris was the boss man for me for a while. Applied for cardio cleaner, ended up getting hired on as front desk. Progressed from that to like an entry-level management shift lead position to then assistant manager in Mount Pleasant after Eris went down to Georgia. So after that, I had an opportunity to open up a club over in Big Rapids as a club manager, and that was an experience in itself for sure. And from there, towards the end of my journey, I was promoted to a regional type position. Exactly. It came full circle for us, so it was cool. It was cool. It's what we'd always talk about. Exactly. So to see it come full circle was really nice. But yeah, so I mean, we'll dive into the leadership aspects of what that looked like, I'm sure, later. But since then, real estate was always a dream of mine, knowing that was going to be the long-term goal and the career for me. So I stepped away and have been doing real estate full-time since, when was it? December of 2020. So the last few months. Yeah. So here we are.
How's it going, man?
It's been a blast. It has been a blast. They say for real estate, especially going into it full-time right off the jump, like the first 2 years is the hardest. And I definitely understand that. But in terms of what it is that we're doing, right. and what it is that I was looking for and hoping to get out of it, man, it's so fulfilling. It's so fun. So awesome. Yeah, can't wait. But yeah, so back to you though.
Okay.
The ET catering stuff.
Yeah.
In terms of entrepreneurship for you, that was like your first kind of venture that you did, right?
Yeah. So that was kind of like my first little venture, and I guess like I said, I've always enjoyed cooking. Loved cooking. But you see these, like Emeril Lagasse was my guy, right? You know what I'm saying? Bam! You know what I'm saying? And so like you see all these different people on TV, And for some reason, I think in your mind, you automatically assume like their food has to taste 10 times better than mine because they're on TV, right? And then you like, you get in the kitchen, you start doing so, salt, pepper, garlic powder, paprika, whatever. You're like, oh, bro, this slaps. You know what I'm saying? So, and then people start trying them. Like, oh man, this is good. X, Y, and Z. And so, you just kind of hop into it, right? And I was really big on I enjoy the process of cooking, right? So for those that like to use crock pots, okay, this is my thing. This is my little soapbox segment. It's cheating, okay? It's cheating because you just put something in there and then it's just done for you a couple hours later. No, I'm just playing.
There's gonna be some triggered people in the comments right now.
But no, I enjoyed the process of cooking. I enjoyed making things from scratch. But yeah, it was kind of my first thing where I was like, just like you were photography, it was like, let's monetize this thing and, let's see what can happen.
Right.
And it was hard and easy at the same time. The easy part was I already had the skill, right? And so putting the skill to work, that wasn't the hard part.
Right.
It was now developing this process of how to put this together. How do I actually have a business, right? How do I, make sure I make money? So, and it never got to be like huge, but how do you make sure you make money so people not knocking at your door like, oh, where the taxes at?
Right. Yeah. Put some structure to it.
Yeah, exactly. And so man, it was interesting though.
Yeah. Okay. So tell us about Product of Grace.
Product of Grace, man. So, Product of Grace was something I started now maybe about like 4 years ago, almost 5 years ago, and Product of Grace. I kind of got the whole concept from Lecrae. I forget what song it is, but he says, I'm just a product of grace, spreading hope to the hopeless, right? And anybody that knows me, that we've had deep conversation, I always tell about my story is just a story of grace, right? And grace is just something that's been freely given to us that, wasn't deserved. And nothing that we did to get it, but, from getting into college without applying and, getting into grad school and, somebody offering to pay for grad school.
Right,
and then,
that's huge.
All these jobs I've had over years without even applying has been crazy. And so I wanted to start something that would hopefully leave a legacy, right? And so started a clothing line called Product of Grace. You were a huge part of that. Got a chance to take some photos and things for me, and it has dropped off over the years, and definitely something that we still have shirts. Still got shirts. Reach out,
check them out. They're nice.
Send me a message if you want to share. I still got them. Something that will hopefully pick back up again in the future, man. But it was just a thing of wanting to spread hope to the hopeless. Yeah. Right. I feel like that's our call as human beings. No matter what your purpose is, the purpose is to help others, right? And so part of that, we'll be giving 5% to a local food pantry, right, or soup kitchen, and then the other 5% was towards some type of leadership or youth group.
That's right.
Right.
Yep.
Investing in the future. So. Yeah, man. So it was a good time. Like I said, just once again being able to dabble in that. And that was my first time dabbling with a full-on site that people paid through, right? Because the ET's catering was more so you just checked it out, right? And then if you needed something, you called me. And now you had this thing where people are paying, and I'm like, oh shoot, right? People are actually paying. Yeah. And then just going through this whole mindset of, okay, am I really doing well? Because my cousin bought a t-shirt, right? Or are you doing well when you get to the point where somebody you don't know, it's like, bro, I want to buy this shirt. Like,
exactly.
Great,
Exactly.
So yeah, man.
Oh, dude, because if I remember it was right around the same time. It might have been the same time because that's when I was doing Tree Stand Brews stuff. Yeah. So I remember we'd have that conversation. And Tree Stand Brews was like a e-commerce coffee apparel store that I started.
Which, by the way, we're huge on coffee. You're gonna see coffee all throughout this podcast this year. So be ready for that. Let's talk about that for a second though. You said Tree Stand Brews. where did this whole tree stand thing come from? Tree stand is hunting. I
Right.
don't hunt.
Yeah.
But how did that come about?
You don't hunt yet. So we're gonna get you out
Okay,
there. We're gonna get you out there. So just thinking about different industries and different interests of mine, and target niches, right? And how can I serve, or how can I add value to that interest of mine? I love hunting. It's always, it's just been something I did growing up, and passionate about it. So I was like, you know what? Shoot, let's try something. And that was the mindset going into it. I was like, you know what? There is no failing in this, because I'm gonna fail forward, right? I'm gonna learn from it, and I'm just gonna keep it rolling, and just see what happens. So it was a lot of fun. I built the website through Shopify, and was selling coffee. A couple different variations of that, and then had some logos designed and some apparel designed and everything, and it was fun, man. But like, to your point, you feel good, you get that sense of like accomplishment when you see that order come through, to realize it's Aunt Sally down the street, right?
Exactly.
Which, thank you, Aunt Sally. It's nothing against it, but really, I think we used to talk like, how amazing would it be to be in a different state and to be walking down the street and then see somebody wearing your apparel? Like you run into somebody like, hey, like, that's my shirt. You know what I mean? Like, that would be like success, or in my mind, because I think success is different for everybody, but that would have been the goal. So,
and you even went through the process of selling your business, right? And I think that, well, of course we'll talk about that on this podcast as well, but you sold that, so somebody saw value in what you were doing, right? And you were able to, monetize that as well. Yeah, no,
you're spot on. I never thought it would get to that point, ever. Literally, there's value in the name because of a brand that you built.
Right.
And that's crazy to me. There's value in the following. There's value in the brand. There's value in, what you're offering the industry. And the connections that were made. That's another thing. The networking and the connections. I know it's so cliche. The whole it's who you know. But seriously, like it's who you know, and it's getting yourself out there and being uncomfortable and live in that uncomfortable area, because that's where you need to be. So it definitely did that too. It was a process, man. It was fun. It was a good time. So we'll see what's next. I know I got a few ideas in the back burner here, so I'd like to do something in it again, but. I am curious though, share with everybody kind of what's next for you. Like, what's the end goal here? What are you trying to build for?
Yeah, man. So, the biggest thing is, something I never thought I wanted to get into. I'm a huge John Maxwell fan, and, every time me and you talk about that, you're just like, yeah, it's cool to be a John Maxwell fan, man, but like, be Aries, like, you're gonna have your own content, man. And John, bro, if you ever want to work with a guy, man, let me know.
This is the dude.
Let me know. You know what I'm saying? I'm already familiar with Atlanta. We've been to 12 Stone. Let me know, man. I come down. But I definitely want to teach leadership all over the world. But more specifically, I think even though it's hopefully getting better, I think I see some glimpses of it. But a leadership-focused company, right? I think is what a lot of our world is struggling with a lot of our businesses, where the thing is all about just the product, right? And realizing that your product, your best product are your people, right?
Yep.
I think the book Good to Great even talked about, it's not even necessarily people are your best product, it's the right people, right? And so, allowing a company to find the right people, but then from there, how do you develop them? How do you, not unmotivate them, right? Because, that book also talked about, the job is not for us to motivate people, but to make sure that we don't demotivate people, right? And I think that's the point exactly, because I think a lot of people come on to work for your company, right? And they're super excited to work for your company. Right. So the thing is to not to demotivate them. And so, man, I want to get into the consulting world where, I'm able to share some of the things that I've learned, some of the things I've implemented to help me be successful in my roles of running multiple units, right? So if anybody's looking for a consultant, come holler at your boy.
That's right.
I got you. But to really get into that industry, man, and really see a world that we live in, that when people work for a job, no matter if it's a fast food company or if it's a law firm, that they're going into a company that's going to add value to them.
Absolutely.
Right? Add value to them and help them be better, whether they stay there for the long term or you know use it as a stepping stone.
That's right. What was it that we used to say? We want you to leave better than you came, and to us that's success, right?
Exactly.
So.
And yeah, man, and I think the biggest thing is to turn companies into, every company out there, and please hear me on this, every company out there should be a people development company. You just happen to do whatever you do, right? So, you know what I'm saying, whether that's flipping burgers, right? You're a people development company that just happens to flip burgers.
Absolutely.
If you're a church, you're a people development place, right? A church is a business, but you're a people development business that happens to bring people closer to Christ.
That's
right. It's about the people, man. The people are the heart. Is the heart of it all.
Absolutely. Now I gotta ask, because I gotta see if we can get like a little sneak peek or something. Because I know you got some content that you've been working on.
Yeah.
Is there any like topics or sneak peeks or like names of what you've been working on that?
This is episode 1, man. We ain't giving away all. This is episode 1. No, but yeah, no, we'll share that for another time. But yeah, man, that's the industry. It will be, along the lines. I want everything to be focused around the same. So it's all gonna be about the product. Right. Okay. So hint there, I guess.
Right. Yeah.
And yeah, man, we want to go down some different avenues, man. I want to create spaces, right? Whether we're talking about coffee shops, creating spaces for entrepreneurs and leaders to get an opportunity just to, be there and get involved, and that's why I'm loving. That's what I'm gonna love about this podcast, because us putting these things out here, right, is gonna also keep us accountable.
True.
Right. So now you need to turn the tables on me. Now I'm turn the table on you. Man, what does the future look like for Brad?
Good question. Good question.
We'll talk about that next episode.
Yeah, so that's for episode 2. No, seriously, good question. I would say right now, the ideas and the goals that I have, it's ambitious, and I'm trying to do a better job too of not talking about so much and doing it, so keep that in mind. But real estate, obviously, like I mentioned before, is the long-term goal. That's I know that's what I want to do, and especially now I'm doing it full time, and I see it. It's just kind of solidified that feeling even more that this is where I need to be. This is where I'm supposed to be. So, in terms of the real estate world and things that you can do, by the way, ERA, Greater North Properties, your boy Brad Fall. If you need a house or if you're trying to sell, yes, slight plug, no big deal. But anyway, yeah. So I mean, the vision's very big. This is one location here in Cadillac, Michigan, that I would hope to be one of many. In the future, I'm more interested in building a team, right? Yeah. And I know that we're going to get into that and the importance of it and what that looks like. But yeah, I mean, to me, similar to what you mentioned, it's about getting the right people. Building the right team and continuing to add value to those around you and bringing them with you, and wherever this goes, wherever this takes me personally, I want to bring those people with me, and I think our past regional manager, a good friend of ours, mentor, he always mentioned, he's like, the circle's small. I remember having that conversation of, it's not that you don't have friends, right? No new friends, but no, it's not about that. But it's just that circle that you have direct influence with. You keep that circle small because you are a product of those. What is it? Yeah. You're the median of like the 5 people you spend the most time around, right? Exactly. So, keeping that circle and being intentional about who is in that circle is super important. So. Yeah, I mean, I would say the specifics I don't have laid out yet. Honestly, goal number 1 is just getting established here in the industry, and just going headfirst into everything and trying to be a sponge, man, and just learn and grow and do as much as I can for the time being. But I know property rental is something I'm interested in, some property management stuff, and we'll see what happens. So. Yeah.
And guys, this is why we started this podcast, right? To let you guys see, we're 2 ordinary guys that having to have a lot of ambition. We want to accomplish a lot, we want to do a lot. But the journey is not always easy by far. And we have a long road to go, and that's the whole purpose of this podcast. And when we have these special guests that are going to come on, which, man, I'm so excited whenever, when we start that, man. When we have those on, it's going to hopefully, like I said, add a value to you all, right? So for those that, maybe feel stuck or feel like, I'm just beginning, right? We're still there too, right? We don't have everything figured out, and I think that's what's going to make us unique and special is we get to walk through that journey with you too. So, yeah, man. I mean, anything else you want to add?
No, I mean, I agree. Like, this is more of a community focus, right? Yeah. So we didn't just start this to, hold each other accountable and give us an excuse to see each other more often, exactly. Although it's definitely nice. But no, it's really about building a community. And, like we mentioned in our first video, kind of introducing this whole thing is we want to hear from you, and let us know, what is it that you're working on? Shoot us a message. We want to be a part of that with you. If there's anything that we know that maybe we've experienced, so we can help with whatever the situation is that you're going in. But like we mentioned before, it's about who you know too. So maybe we know a contact that we can get you in contact with as well and help you out. So excited.
We'll have all of our social media contacts and our email and everything linked in here as well. So please check it out, y'all. Thank y'all for joining us for episode 1 of Ambitious Mind. Episode 1. It's crazy, man.
We're here. We're doing it, man.
Episode 1. So we look forward to seeing you guys again, man. Y'all have a great evening, a great day. I guess depends on what time we release this episode.
Whatever. Yeah.
But yeah, thank y'all for joining us. We appreciate it. Ambitious Minds. Let's go.
Right. See you at episode 2.
Ambition is priceless. It's something that's in your veins, and I put that on my name. They gon' love me for my ambition.